This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Excellent. Madhavan is here, and this is him in a totally different avatar. I've got to say this. How are you, brother? Good to see you, man.
I'm very well. Thank you so much for the compliment. I'm hoping that is one.
Yeah, hark back to about, it'll give away our age. Bachelor days when you and me used to hang in Jew and go to J49.
That is right.
Back when I used to be slimmer.
Yeah, and me too.
You're still looking sharp, brother.
20.
Still
No,
looking
I'm
sharp.
actually putting on weight for my next project. I need to look like a 75-year-old man. It's not fun.
I have to tell you that I saw Vikram Vedha. He was absolutely smashing in it. What a coming together of some great forces to make some great cinema, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So the fact that this is an original web series, I don't think the formats have ever worried you, considering you've done the whole gamut. Have you done some theatre before?
Not really. No. That's one thing that I haven't done.
Yeah. So it's never say never.
That's
Tomorrow
right.
if a big Broadway musical comes up, who knows? Yeah.
I know for sure that I'm not doing, because I have 16 and a half left feet and no voice to sing. So, I'd rather be sitting on the sidelines and clapping and whistling, because I have tried my best. I can barely dance in my movies. I put a contract now that I will not dance in my movies. If you ask me to dance, I'm going to charge you a lot more.
That's cool. But you can still play football.
I can
Or at
still
least
play the fool.
Play
Yeah.
Danny. So who came to you with this particular project? I mean, was it Abuntia or was it Amazon directly?
Yeah, so we all had a problem pronouncing the name in the beginning. It's called Abundancia.
Abundancia.
It's quite a tongue
like
twister.
from abundance.
Yes, yeah.
Well, now that we've got the pronunciation out of the way.
Abundancia, yeah.
Yeah. So did they approach you or did Amazon go
So
on?
I'm going to take you a little back. About 4 or 5 years ago, when I started seeing the web series that were there and the quality, which was actually kicking ass with respect to even what was coming in cinema, I realized that there is a great future to it, and I was waiting for it to come and hit India as well. At that time, there were no Amazons and everybody else. But then I quickly realized that all of these companies had come in, and the international web series in local languages, dubbed in Tamil, Telugu and Malayalam, were being released, and everybody had seen the Game of Thrones, and they were already spoilt for choice in terms of international content that they're getting to see in their native tongue. So then I realized that if I have to get into this, then it's two ways to do it. One is to do an international content and be seen, or do a content which is Indian, which is of international standard, because they will never forgive us, because they're paying the exact same dollar to see both the contents. So I was skeptical about the kind of stories that were being written, because it's a completely different format. The story arc for an 8-episode short series is very different from that of a film, which is extremely different from that of a television series. So one had to identify that slot correctly and place a story like that. So when Abundancia, Vikram Malhotra, who's known for his selection of and choices for content, he contacted me. I was a little skeptical. I said, yaar, nahi karna hai. Web series abhi nahi. And I was doing Vikram Vedha at that time, in fact. But I was a little curious, because it was him that was suggesting this, and he was producing it. So I met Mayank, the director, and I was still a little hesitant, and I was all going to listen to him in all humility, say, listen, I don't have the time. But when I heard the first 3 episodes, when I saw what was happening in the 4th episode of this web series, I was completely blown over. And I realized that if I have to step into Indian content digitally and have something that looks international, this would be the one. So that's why I kind of grabbed it with both hands.
Bhatt Saab said this, and it's quite interesting, when he said that making special effects or making horror films might not make sense anymore, because people are getting to see the Wonder Womans and the Star Wars of the world in regional languages, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi. So Indians should stick to taut, tight dramas as opposed to special effects and horror. I don't know if you agree with that, but a good story is a good story. So, let's come down to the plot reference on that. Yeah. Are you, I'm going to take the script home and read it kind of person, or a narration, old school narration kind of person?
No, both. There are when you hear a narration, you hear a lot of intangibles which you have to sieve out. They go into the mindset, and they say the hero thinks and she feels and they assume and they realize and stuff like that, which you can't portray on screen with just you just have an expression to say all those things. I do read the script and I do listen to a narration just to see the clarity of thought of the director. What Bhatt Saab said might have held true at one point of time, but now we're the ones who are making the special effects for the world.
Like Prime Focus does a scene on Star Wars.
Not just the scene. I mean, you'll be amazed about how inconspicuously 90% of the work in graphics is done for many films in the West, in India. And I know personally of personal friends who do these. They have the non-disclosure clause, which they keep very quiet, so you won't see them on media. But some of spectacular work is happening in India, as is evident from Bahubali as well, which was all Indian content. But having said that, one has to realize that the audiences have very clearly changed. Right? What I'm saying is that if a good-looking hero and an extraordinary-looking heroine is all that you want for making a film happen, then all the films with these kind of heroes and heroines should be a big hit, right? What happens is it takes the first 4 minutes to get you into the story, and you say, oh, she's so beautiful, or she's so he's got 8-pack, whatever, and then the story has to hold water. If you can't do that for 2 hours, imagine trying to do that for 5.5 hours, which is what we're trying to do within a web series. So the characters have to be aspirational, and what it means is in India we have more than enough content to make people aspirational. From the meager beginnings that an Indian does to the kind of extraordinary achievement that every Indian has managed to put out, to achieve around the world. We have many stories. It's just that we're conditioned by what we see in the West to assume that is the benchmark of success, which is not true.
But you do Sala Kadus was part your production, no?
Yes, of course.
So you have a production house. I mean, why isn't that, you think of producing something like this on your own? I mean, no disrespect to Abundancia, but I'm just saying, haven't the Amazons and the because Farhan is producing, right? Inside Edges is his and Ritesh's production,
right?
And the kind of head that you have in terms of cinema and your sensibility, you could easily pick up one yourself, yeah.
Well, I'm doing that now, but I'm not doing that with web series. I'm doing that with a medium that I understand, which is films. This year I'm going to be producing a biopic. But having said that, I'm an actor, and at the end of the day, you want to walk onto the set without any baggages. If you're producing something, the sword is always on your head, because anything going wrong, anything going out of schedule, anything not working on the set is immediately frowned upon, and you're held responsible for it. I'd rather be the alpha male on the set and do what I'm supposed to do, as opposed to have to answer to everybody.
Alpha male. Danny Mascarenhas. I have to say this, I have to show this to everybody, so this is really amazing marketing. Won't you agree?
I agree.
Subtle
Brilliant
marketing.
idea.
Yeah. So Madhavan basically plays Denzel Mascarenhas, aka Danny. And this is his case file with the investigating officer, which is Kabir Sawant. So Danny, football coach, eh? Yeah, still doing a bit of that, going and playing some cricket with Sohail and the boys, and playing football with Ranbir and the gang. All that.
The only thing that I'm really good at is playing the fool, basically, and golf. I
remember an uncle of mine meeting you in a course in Chennai, and he was so thrilled.
And he was grumbling about how you guys are not getting married to me. So yeah, and I love outdoor games. I love skiing, which I can still do. I love playing golf, which I manage to do more often than not. But I think football and cricket is out of my league right now. Bad knees. But in this web series, I'm not a player. I'm just a coach. And that's not even an important aspect of the story. I'm a father of a child that obviously is going through trauma. And that is the character that I was playing.
And organ donation is really something that is gone out of control in this country of ours. Not in terms of the murder perspective, but just the fact that, people are selling organs. There's a whole trade of it happening. And still, there are enough people dying for the want of organs. And I believe the child, which in this case, Josh, right, is fourth on the list of donors who are supposed to get a lung. Yeah. So talk to me about that. And as a parent, I mean, we're all cut to those days of us not getting married. I mean, also father of a 5-year-old daughter now. So
you know what I mean.
As parents.
Yeah.
Just what Danny goes through. Just the part. Take me through that.
So it's quite frightening, actually. I hope that as a father, no man has to ever take a decision like that. But when you're faced as a father with a choice of saving securing the future of your child, and for that you have to do what is considered socially unacceptable or illegal or not morally correct, would you be driven to actually putting all that aside and saying to hell with it, let me do practically what is important to keep my child alive? Or would you succumb to the pressures of civilization and a civilized lifestyle and say, let me leave it to God and see if he survives? If you take away all the morality from the picture, if you take away all the what is right and what is wrong from the picture, and you just say it's the wild jungle, would you do what it takes to keep your offsprings alive? And that is.
Do you have a boy, a girl?
I have a son who's 12 years old.
Yeah. So, and in a manner of speaking, we always say we would kill for our child.
Right.
In that aspect, I always say that, you don't want harm to come to the child. And I think that's where Danny comes in, doesn't he?
Yeah. And it's primal. It's not something that is taught to you. It's not taught to you that you should, kill for the sake of your child. It's an instinct that is organically there in everybody, right? So when you put yourself in that position, then, there are deeply conflicting thoughts that come into your mind, and very difficult to make a choice.
And, coming through that, considering that, you go into the mind and the working of a character, you really seem to be enjoying this public speaking thing. I mean, it's something you used to do, I remember, as a personality development coach.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I see you on Twitter, you've just come out of Cognizant. That particular talk of yours went viral. Still enjoy a bit of that, helping youngsters shape their lives. Talk to me about that.
Well, it's, I think, the fact that I have life experiences that I've been fortunate enough to have, and I'm able to withdraw from it and explain to people what I've been through. It's not sermonizing. It's only sharing my experiences and putting it in a manner that they will understand. Somehow that seemed to have clicked with a lot of companies and a lot of organizations. So I keep getting these calls to go and give motivational speeches, but I completely enjoy it. I know that somewhere there is a difference being made, and if it's going to change somebody's life for the better, why not?
Lovely. And just the fact that your life is Tambram boy, grew up in Bihar, you're a bit of Ramji London wale, you're a bit of the NASA scientist. And then I know you love Bombay,
Yes.
So you still have one foot, you're a world citizen.
I live
you still
in
have a
Bombay.
one foot. You live in Bombay.
No, I live in Bombay. I have been living in Bombay for the past 12 years, but just that I'm not such a social butterfly.
Page 3
People
animal.
don't know, unfortunately.
But still flying into the south to do a lot of your work.
I fly all around. Yes. I practically live in the airport most of the time.
Wow. Let's talk about the other cast members in this one. It's an interesting ensemble cast. I mean, there's Sapna Pabbi, who we saw in a series, which is 24. Amit Saad, he seems to have incredible energy on screen. And of course, some old faithfuls. There's Neena Kulkarni ji.
Exactly.
Yeah? Talk to me about the whole atmosphere and how it's all come together. Yeah.
So Neena Kulkarni, Hrishi K, there is Josh, the kid who's extraordinary. The casting has been done with keeping a grain in mind, and they've done it brilliantly. So whatever you might feel about the episodes and as they unfold your excitement level, one thing you will definitely say is the casting and the performances are absolutely consistent. And that is a big achievement for content coming out of India right now. You won't find a weak link in terms of the performance. And that's how beautifully they have cast. Another big challenge that the web series, and especially the likes of Amazon and the kind of quality that they expect from you, is that it's live sound. So you can't afford not to know the language, and dubbing mein sambhalega wala baat hota hi nahi hai kabhi, which is a big thing. So to find talent that is in character and also have the ability to speak the language freely was a big task, and they've managed to put that up very nicely.
And there's a picture of a lady who's your current girlfriend as Danny.
Right.
So who's this lady? Is that just a picture?
Yes, her name is Aruna in the series. No. She has a very important character in the film. Yeah, so we have, like I said, all very good performers. And I feel very happy. You've created a world that is very believable. It's, you can't have, you can't do a Spider-Man and have a Gandhiji character playing in there because it's two different worlds, right? And they have got the world absolutely correct.
And Mayank, the director, I'm given to understand he is a first-time director, though he's written and been second unit director at various places. You're no stranger to newcomers or new directors, and you've also worked with the so-called Maharathis of the world. What immediately hit you about this boy? What hit you about Mayank?
All right, great. Good question. There was a clarity. There's definitely great creativity, but there was also a clarity in how he wanted to approach how this episodes play out. A strange trivia is that it's actually meant to be a binge-watching series. So we wanted to
like for all 5 of them together.
All 8 of them.
8 of them.
8 episodes together.
8 1-hour episodes? Is that it?
8 40-minute episodes.
40-minute episodes. Yeah.
And that's how we shot it, because we were assuming that if it's going to be a binge-watch session, then we were trying to build up the characters and slowly pick up pace as we go along. Once Amazon saw it and they said, we're very sure people will subscribe to it, they decided that the best format would be to release the 3 first and subsequently 1 episode per week. So the way that Mayank was handling the storytelling, you'll see it from the 4th and I think the 6th and 7th episode, which is clearly one of the best that I've ever seen. You'll see what I mean by the plugging that has been done correctly.
So you don't insist on seeing past work. Like you didn't say, I want to see a table number 21 or whatever. You still go by gut instinct to a large measure, along with the rational approach if you see one. Yeah?
Mainly because my biggest blockbusters have been given by directors whose last film has been a flop. And it has been consistent. My biggest blockbusters, my biggest films, be it Vikram Veda or Sala Khadoos or Tanu Manu or Minnale, all of these. Minnale was, of course, a first-time director, but Vikram Kumar, who did 1813B, all these films that did really, really well for me had been coming from a recent flop, and therefore their skills are honed and their instincts are completely, acute, and more importantly, they know why and how not to go overboard, which is one of the reasons they might have failed. So I take a lot of energy from these people who have this deep, passionate desire to get it right the next time around, and they have the skill set for it. So Mayank,
and you also know who's going to bounce back, who has the tenacity to bounce back or not, because you're able to read that, obviously.
Yeah, I think everybody has that ability when it comes to their job to know that this person has the ability to take you to the next level, right? As actors, I'm limited with my life experiences the moment I joined the film industry, and I have to withdraw myself many times over to see what is happening in the world and see who's coming from outside to make an impact. So I've always been lucky with that selection. I mean, to give credit to me, that has been something that I've been managing to do. I remember very clearly everybody's saying after 3 Idiots that why are you doing Tanuvid's Manu? Yaar, come on. You're getting all these big directors offering you movies. You choose to do Tanuvid's Manu with the director whose last film was a flop called Strangers. And it didn't play on my mind at all. I was very sure that Tanuvid's Manu was the film I wanted to be associated with. And
look at Anand today.
Look at him. Absolutely.
It's difficult to get an appointment. Anand, you listening? Which is super stuff. So, I just want to talk about influences in your life.
Okay.
I know that money has played an important part. Kamal sir has played an important part. Just people who have touched your lives professionally. I don't want to get into your personal life, but professionally, people who have touched your life.
Oh, yeah. I think I will start right from Om Puri ji and Pallavi Joshi and Shefali Chaya, who I started off my television career with. Satish Shah Sahab. All of them, just to see how they were performing and what they would prepare, how they would prepare. From there, I've had the privilege of working with some of the best in both the industries. From Nagesh sir in Tamil Nadu to Mani Ratnam and P. Shishiram and, Kamal sir and a lot of really, popular and phenomenal talents from the South, as well as the likes of Amir Khan and Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, all of them. They motivate me in one thing clearly, which is common to all of them, is however they might come out in their public appearances, deep down, there's a great level of healthy insecurity and humility that keeps their mind open for learning all the time. I think one of the greatest examples that can ever happen is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is, relevant today as he was many years ago, is still leading the pack from the front, is as popular and respected as he ever was in his life. And to be that relevant, that acute, that sharp and that hardworking at his age, you can't get better than that.
I know you spend a lot of time on the road, but who's your BFF, your best friend forever, like they say in Millennium Speak? Somebody pick up your phone and you just speak at any time.
That is, of course, Sarita, my wife, and a few friends that I have scattered around the world, and not necessarily in Bombay. And I'm a fairly egoistic person. I don't kind of submit myself completely to people giving me advice. And when I do, it's complete. And these people that I talk to, who are my friends from around the world, I submit myself heart and soul. I don't have a guru. I'm not one of those guys who's spiritually inclined in terms of following another human being. But these people come close to it.
And the boy and you are buddies? Are you able to go out, take him to golf and take him to... Is he interested in sport and movies?
Oh, yeah.
What is he?
Vedant is very devout swimmer. He gets up at 5:30 every morning and is swimming 2 hours before he goes to school. Comes back and swims for another hour after he comes back from school. So I'd like to see that he's got that grit. I'm waiting to see how successful he becomes. But, if he's able to exercise that discipline at a young age, I'm happy.
We've started a show called People United, India United in 2018. We're just sick of people using religion, caste, creed and differences to get at each other. People are banning food items. People are banning cinema. What are we doing wrong? Till 10 years ago, we never thought of all these things. All of a sudden, world leaders are propagating differences, walls and things like that. What are we doing wrong? What can we do to stay together as a human race, as Indians?
I think the same thing that is happening in the film industry is happening in the world around. And I think if you look at a smaller world where people who have the reins are holding on to it dressed desperately and doing what it takes to cling on to the shreds that is still left in their fingers, not knowing that the world is changing at a much faster rate than they can imagine. Playing to these small sentiments, they're assuming that the next round of elections or the next round of verdicts, they will be coming out on top. But let me tell you, the youngsters and the old alike have completely transformed. It's not, they were not seeing what is happening. It's not that we should... Why are we all thinking about what we should not do? Why can't we collectively think of what we should do? Why can't there be a sense of nationalism? Why are we fighting things like, should I stand up for the national anthem? What difference does it make? Really? I mean, can you not just do that for a sense of community feeling towards your country? What freedom is this encroaching upon? Food items, segregating people with beliefs and thoughts and thinking that that's going to play in your favor is the stupidity of the yonder generations. And I'm very clear about it. And you can see that in many elections to happen. And in my opinion, the political world, as in the film industry, was going to see a huge change. There is going to be no political boundaries. The biggest companies that control our world today, the Amazons, the Facebooks, the Apples and the Twitters and every other company that you think you're sitting smug and secure in your country, nobody can touch you, you can't be further from the truth. And it's going to eventually split the country up in pods, the world up into pods, not even countries, into pods, where the only thing common to that pod will be what you collectively feel about philosophy, culture and religion, where you'll not be able to fight it. Because if you are talking about World War III right now, it's not going to be in the form of weapons weaponry for sure. All you have to do is cut the bloody electricity and internet of any country, and they will decay in 6 days when the food goes bad, because your electricity won't work, your bank account, your identity is zilch. Today we all jumped onto the internet, the web as a bandwagon and thinking, everything is great, the economy is being controlled by e-commerce is happening, that is happening, this is happening. Nobody even knows how acutely vulnerable we are to a cyber attack that can completely put chaos into any country at just a given notice. Politicians and leaders should be aware of that. We should be fighting that, and the only way to fight something that is so dramatically changing and so uncertain is to collectively maintain a nationalistic feeling. Israel does it. They are the most brutalized nation in the world. Look at how they've bounced back. You should see the sense of nationalism in Japan. You should see they will give you respect to touch your feet. They will lick your feet if it has to be. But you do one thing that is against the country, and you'll be very royally ushered out. How long do you think it's going to be strong to be relying on your little community and what it feels for and what it stands for when it is socially wrong? You can't.
Beautifully put. It's on your iPhone. What are you listening to, and what kind of movies are you watching?
The last song
Tamil, Hindi, English, what are you listening to?
Actually, I'm one of those guys who has a playlist that will actually kind of surprise a lot of people. It swings from Carnatic to Western culture as well as to country. So the last song I was listening to is "I'd Be a Legend" by Roy Femo, and I put all that on shuffle. So the songs that come in can drive somebody crazy.
Come on, isn't Vedant putting you on to some of his music?
Actually, he's trying his best, and that's one area where I'm beginning to realize that, oh my God, I can't keep pace with these guys. Yeah. I mean, they're bringing in names that I haven't even heard, and I think Vedant was one of those guys, but apparently he's an avid listener of music.
Lovely. Yeah. Last great film you saw, what was that? Was it
actually a last web series that I saw, which I thought was exceptional. It's called Billions, and I just thought the characterization, well, you know what, that gives you an insight into what the world is coming to. Brilliantly put across, and you realize how vulnerable you are to this, and what is happening around the world, and I love those kind of futuristic stories.
Madhavan, thank you, mate.
You're very kind. Thank you so much, brother.